in school, there are bad kids. There are weird kids, popular kids, gangster kids, and there are even kids now who are more adult than adults themselves. Now, notice, all of these statements have looming negative connotational auras, except for the band kids, of course, because playing an instrument is obviously the best thing any person can ever do to themselves, ever, and you do not want to have that argument with me. These stereotypes, though they may be seemingly harmless, do actually have the potential to harm people. This phenomenon of false generalizations affecting people in their personal lives is called stereotype threat. It isn't how it sounds though. Stereotype threat doesn't tangibly threaten someone like I do my brother when my closet space just magically becomes his. Like, come on, do boundaries even exist in families anymore? However, stereotype threat is real, and it is heavily and negatively affecting more and more students during every standardized test and skewing their test results. Today, I am here speaking with you, student members of the For the Students Association, to help me convey my views to the district school board and help abolish this issue from the root. As we're here, we're going to first identify how these negative stereotypes came to be, take a teacher's look at how large the impact can be on students as a result of them, as well as expand in possible solutions to this problem, so that your parents' Facebook pages, or in my ethnically inclined perspective, WhatsApp family group chats aren't buzzing with your academic failures. We all know the basic stereotypes. For example, the stereotype that boys wear blue and girls wear pink. Now, we've already found false info there. I look stunning in pink. These types of stereotypes don't tend to affect people as much, but stereotypes based on more personal experiences do. In America today, we're sadly familiar with the tangled web of racial injustice, and the way people react to these through various protests or inappropriate social media posts do reflect just how much people can be affected by negative stereotypes. W.E.B. Du Bois was an American sociologist, socialist, historian, and civil rights activist. Now, props to him for being all of those things when I can't even nominate myself for submitting my own homework assignments on time. In 1903, he released a book entitled The Souls of Black Folk. The Rice University Center for Teaching Excellence released an article on August 14, 2018, studying a portion of this book entitled Addressing a Threat in the Air: How Stereotypes Affect Our Students and What We Can Do About It. This article details a concept that Du Bois called double consciousness, which suggests that Black Americans not only lived in an environment that devalued them, but required them to devalue themselves, to measure one's soul by the tape of a world that looks on in amused contempt and pity. He's saying here that in the environment of Black Americans, people must be more discouraging to themselves and decrease their own self-worth in order to thrive. Stereotypes regarding gender and ethnic groups, social groups, and even certain age groups heavily and negatively affect more and more students during standardized testing. And it's the stereotypes like these that continue to feed into the research that many researchers are trying to make about the inaccuracy of standardized tests. Now, the effects. Not exactly as relieving as your average homework assignment, which, surprise teachers, isn't very relieving at all. In an article by Eunjin Seo and Yu-Kyung Lee, published on April 28, 2021, entitled Stereotype Threat in High School Classrooms, How It Links to Teacher Mindset, Climate, Mathematics, Anxiety, and Achievement, the point was conveyed that members of a negatively stereotyped social group may underperform on diagnostic tasks due to situational cues that cause them to worry that they may confirm negative stereotypes about their group. While taking standardized tests, people are so worried about any stereotypes that affect them at all that they're stressing about satisfying the negative stereotype that they sue. Much like me, post-stress, when I realized a whole week late that there was, in fact, a backside to that biology test. An example of this effect sprouts from a stereotype that girls are generally bad at math. Yeah, I know, completely reasonable, considering that our math teachers today are primarily female. Anyway, a girl taking a standardized test involving difficult math questions may cause the girl stress because of her anticipation of underperformance. This results in effects like flunking, which doesn't help the underperformer, as a large number of the stereotypes that are affecting the underperformers consist of the expectation of things like flunking. This causes a large domino effect that constitutes negative lifelong effects on students, all because of one single stereotype. Now, considering I'm a 14-year-old in high school who despises being categorized as the disorganized freshman, it makes total sense why I feel it's completely necessary to use 8 binder dividers for just English, and vibrant pens with shades of green and red ink for my history notes, all over the Great Depression. Though there are detrimental effects involved with this nature of stereotyping, fortunately there are proven solutions. Christina Pachinese writes in a Harvard Gazette article published on April 16, 2019, entitled Undermining Intelligence, that most schools are already doing useful things like reading books with a diversity of protagonists and images to dilute a stereotype's potency. So yes, this directly proves that you can be a 6'2" tall man and love wearing pink button-downs without being ashamed for putting very self-descriptive things in a speech and never telling everyone the contents of your closet. Can you believe it? I am actually not ashamed. As well as building a diverse environment, educators can also educate students on what stereotype threat is and give powerful examples of people who overcame it. Yes, Mom, that does not mean comparing me to your bestie Carla's successful doctor of a son who has 6 PhDs in straight uselessness. Many researchers, like Claude Steele, a social psychologist and former psychology professor, have backed up these claims in various articles and interviews. In an interview posted on July 18th, 2013 from the Not in Our School YouTube channel and website entitled Stereotype Threat, A Conversation with Claude Steele, Steele mentioned a specific solution that he himself tested on a group of men and women. He was testing whether or not women would perform as well as men in a standardized math test, depending on what he told them before the test. He tells them at the beginning of the test, "You may have heard that women don't do as well in standardized math tests as men. You may have heard that, but that's not true for this particular test. On this particular test, women will always perform as well as men." He says later in the very same interview that this reassuring, small, seemingly insignificant phrase actually fixed the issue when he notes, "That little anxiety is removed, and when you do that, women perform as well as men." This verifies how one of the many solutions to the stress of stereotypes can be as easy as communicating a positive message and informing, even indirectly, about how stereotype threat doesn't have to affect you specifically. Despite stereotypical actions and words presenting themselves as harmless or invalid in certain situations, as we have seen here, a large portion of these stereotypes can affect people negatively in their personal lives, such as in education or in occupation. As we have witnessed, underperformance by causes of stereotypes is widely spread and is taking a large toll on the accuracy of standardized tests. Fortunately, unlike many of your algebra expressions, and mine too, there are proven solutions. These solutions may include educating in classrooms about this subject or offering assurance to pressure people in subtle ways. As this is the end of my piece during this For the Students Association meeting, let me remind you all that I speak here for the Students Association because my intent is to solve issues for the students, for you. I hope that as a result of this speech that I just gave, that you are all now rest assured that with implementations of common solutions in the classroom, you all may perform drastically better, and that you, no matter who you are or who you may be, can rock that gorgeous pink shirt hiding in the back of your closet.